I am here present. I will be a few minutes late logging into the actual meeting, though.
Very good. Mr. Pearson,
Here.
Ms. Thompson, are you here?
Here. Anything else?
Val is here. Dr. Madison was required for the meeting, and he's here. He's passed us. So that he walks in.
His car took us hostage and on the wrong route.
Well, I think that's consistent. Plan, which might not be a bad plan on her. Okay. Is there anything we're moving, basically, that's undecided plan?
No, we're doing the audit first, correct? And then we'll go into closed session, is that correct?
That is correct.
So it's
Yes.
everything. is-
Yeah. Public comments, we have anybody registered for public comments?
No public comment, sir.
Review and approval of the minutes of September 27th. Has everybody had a chance to look at those minutes?
Yes.
Have any, move that we approve those minutes?
Rose Thompson. I move that the minutes of the meeting held on.
Move that we approve the minutes, we have a second? Sorry,
Donald Demick, I will second.
Second. Vote on approval of the minutes, Mr. Nemick,
I vote yes.
Ms. Pearson,
Yes.
Ms. Thompson,
Yes.
Val? Yes. Chair votes yes. And the church vote is presented. Okay, Mr. Sauls, Mary Sauls, are you with us?
I am. Hello, everyone.
We're ready for you.
Okay. I assume everybody's had a chance to review the audit report that was presented in the board packet. I will start. What I'd like to do is if everybody will turn to the table of contents in the report.
Oh, you a little bit.
I'll just kind of briefly go through what's actually in the audit report. I know y'all have looked at this before, but the certification obviously is there for us for once we go through all this for the board to approve. The independent audit report, we have issued an unqualified opinion on the financial statements. That's what it's referred to. The financial statements on pages 7 through 18. If you want to go to the balance sheet, which is on page 7. If everyone looks at that, just briefly, if you have any questions as we go through this, please let me know. I've made a few comments related to the statement of financial position. The school's overall assets exceeded liabilities by $15 million, a little over $15 million, which represents the net assets of the school. The increase in net assets for the year was basically due to had an operating income revenue over expenses of $70,000. The total assets of the $25,205,707 had an increase of $1.3 million from the prior year. We had about almost $5 million related to CIP, construction in progress, that went up from the previous year. Obviously, that was related to the construction going on in Fort Worth, Amarillo, and Midland. Then we had a decrease in cash of $1.8 million. And then we had in the previous year, we had what was called a operating asset related to operating rights of use asset. It's related to the leases that were on the books last year. We have to book an asset and liabilities related to that. The reason that's no longer there is because now with the construction going on, we've entered into short-term leases. So when we have leases less than a year, that's not considered necessary any longer. So that's why that's gone from 936,000 down to zero. Total liabilities for the year were 10,137,000, which is an increase of about $1.2 million. A lot of that change obviously is due to the increase in the notes that we added to the books this year. Any questions related to the statement of financial position? So now we can move on to the statement of activities, which is the very next page. The overall revenue exceeded expenses by $70,000 that I mentioned earlier. Overall revenues increased by $333,000 from the prior year. A lot of that increase because of the reduction we had in state foundation money. As you can see there, the difference from one year to the next. But a lot of that is due to another new item that now is required to show up on the charter school. It's called it says there TRA, but it's TRS on behalf of payments. Basically, we're required now to show a revenue and a related expense, and that represents what the state is obligated for to put into the TRS on behalf of the employees. So that's basically, we've got a $486,000 revenue on the books, and then we turn around and put a $486,000 expense on the books. So there's no effect to the bottom line to that item. Overall expenses increased about $1 million this year. Again, most of that is related to an increase in payroll. Any questions regarding that statement? So if we go back to the table of contents. So what we have here is we just went over the statements, the statement of financial position, the statement of activities. Then you have the statement of cash flows, which basically will show you how the cash changed from one period to the next. And then of course there's the notes to the financial statements. Then we have all the supplementary information listed there, as you can review those schedules if you haven't already. Then we get down to the compliance and internal control section. We have a report on internal controls where we go in and we have to review internal controls related to the school and test those controls. And then we have to note whether there are any material or significant deficiencies, and we did not note any. That's what that report basically says. The independent auditors report on compliance. We have to go in and test the compliance related to the major program. The major program this year was the ESSER programs. We reviewed all the required compliance that we have to review and test. Again, finding no problems within that program. That if you go to if we can go to page 33. This page is where it summarizes everything that we basically issue opinions on. It starts with the financial statements. As you can see, all the answers to those questions are no. We issued an unmodified opinion. The federal awards the same way. We found no issues, and again, unmodified opinion. It shows you there which ESSER fund that we tested. And then the auditee qualifies as a low risk, which basically means we didn't have any findings in the previous year, so you qualify as a low risk auditee. That's really my comments, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer them. And yes, the audit went very smoothly this year. Tammy and Annabelle were a huge help in getting the things done timely. So I appreciate all their work. Any questions?
I don't have any questions. I just want to ask confirmation on a couple of numbers and maybe ask a question about on page, this is page 33 on the financial statements,
Mm-hmm.
13, cash equivalents.
Okay.
At 5,670,387 cash equivalents. That was at the close of the company's period of time, June 30th. That's uncovered cash. So that's what that represents.
Yes, that is the cash as of 6/30/2024.
Well, later on, got some discussions about budget, so that's a figure that would help that discussion.
So if you look at that, if you look at the statement of financial position, that will agree to what we show as cash and cash equivalents on that statement. So that is your cash balance as of that date.
Question, comment, question on page 37, the budget version schedule. That figure, original or final, all the way across for the 5920 federal revenues distributed to the Texas Education Agency, 4,376,120. That includes the extra funds, and that's going away. Is that correct?
Bear with me just a minute. What page were you referring to?
On mine, it's 37, but I have 37 and 22, so I'm not sure which one is yours.
You're talking at you're looking at the budget comparison. Is that what you're looking at?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry to ask you to repeat yourself, but which
Yeah,
you're looking.
federal funds, 4,376,120. That includes the extra funds, which is something north of $3 million.
That is correct.
So the same report next year reflects something more like $1.5 million, something. I don't know what it'd be, but it'll be significantly less for this current year.
So all the ESSER fund money, you're right. That was like, I think ESSER ESSER funds was around $2.8 million. If you look at the page 9, or if you look at page 8, excuse me, it'll show you exactly how much was received in ESSER funds, and it was around $2.6 million actually for the current year. We had an ESSER 2 fund last year. We had $1.2 million that we didn't receive in the current year, and now we've got the $2.5 million this year that we only received $542,000 in the previous year. So yeah, those will be budget considerations for sure.
I don't have any other questions. Any questions, comments? Thompson?
No questions or comment.
None for me.
Pearson?
No, sir.
Right, well, thank y'all. Thank y'all for your time, and if there is any other questions that come up, I'll be happy to try to answer them and whenever they do come up. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
I believe that that's a comment that I've heard for years and years. I don't know how many calls you get, but any board member wants to talk to you privately about something or ask you a question that might sound stupid in public, which is me quite often. Call.
Yeah,
Sounds-
anytime I'm available.
Do we have a motion to accept the audit? We have to approve this audit. We don't have to like it, but we have to approve it. I think we don't like it, but. I'll move that we approve the audit as presented. Do we have a second?
Rose Thompson, second.
We have a motion second. We approve the audit as presented. Mr. Nemick, are you with us?
Yes, I am back full-time now, and I vote yes.
Ms. Pearson,
Yes.
Ms. Thompson,
Yes.
Mel?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. The audit is approved as presented, and so we have some deadline coming up by the end of this month to get this to TJ. That's reasonable timing.
Correct. Statutorily, we have to have the audit approved with the board approval letter and the AFR data template uploaded by the 27th of November.
Well, at the time RMA moved to fiscal year July 1, I was in favor of that. I thought it was the thing to do, but now that I'm sitting up here, I'm not so sure that I wouldn't like to move it back and help a couple of months. That's question for another meeting or another time. It's a lot of changes anyway. Okay, we are now moved to closed session. To close the Florida Government Code 551-071 discussion regarding real property protection of the code, and that takes the Government Code 551.074 personnel matters. That would executive session.
We're waiting on Ryan from Frost Bank, would you prefer to go ahead with personnel matters?
Yeah, we'll start with
Okay, it's 12:40. We're coming out of executive session.
Everybody back? Hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We have one item of business coming out of the executive session.
Absolutely. Okay. I move to approve the superintendent evaluation goals for the 24-25 school year as amended.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the superintendent evaluation goals as amended. We
I'll second the motion.
have a second. Vote, Mr. Nemick,
I vote yes.
Ms. Pearson,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
vote yes, unanimous. Didn't put my stuff here, that or next item. We don't have the
It's a foundation.
updated foundation.
Oh, is it?
I think she's not available, Jen. Carrie said she sent you a message. I don't think she needs to push.
available.
Says she if she won't be available until 2 or 2:30.
She knew about you, didn't she?
She did.
Okay, we'll move on to the next, agenda item, Ms. Pearson, Board of Advocacy report.
Oh, hi, you guys. All right, let me 1 second. And you can go ahead and present that as a presentation.
And you want to add this as a
Yeah. Give me 1 second. Yeah.
Is that correct, Marissa?
Give me 1 second. Yeah, I was trying to find my notes on that. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, we can go ahead and do it. So really quickly, they just started this association basically where basically board members are representing the Texas Public Charter School Association or speaking on that. So just kind of give you a brief overview of what it is and what's going on. TPCSA's mission is to support and advocate for a policy and regulation climate that ensures every student in Texas has access to every improving public school option. So there are cheerleaders, for better words. Next. So basically, TPCSA, their job is they go in there, they tell the story, and they make sure that they're fighting for policies, making things happen on our behalf, making sure that laws are to our favor and things of that nature. But we make sure that more people know about the great things happening at charter schools, enabling them support a policy and political climate that allows charters to flourish. And then it kind of gives you kind of an overview, basically, of some of the House bills that have been passed by TPCSA over the past few years. And up here, we're kind of the next one that we're going for is making sure that there's a maintenance bill, and making sure they're trying to pass a bill in which, and this would actually be very helpful to us, but that will go towards maintenance of charter schools. You can go ahead and go to the next one. And there you go. So yeah, it just kind of goes, it's an oversight there. We can go ahead and email this to you, but it's just kind of goes over improved rules and regulation that have been passed over the years, best practices, just the growth of charters basically throughout the state, and how we're able, so they truly lead for us in making sure that everything is in compliance and making sure that we're also being treated fairly. For our charter schools, our students, teachers, and everyone involved. So now what they're asking basically is having our board advocacy kind of go in there, kind of like what we spoke about here in the last few meetings that we had, is making sure that our board is actually out there in front and face and speaking on behalf of our school. But we want to make sure that our charter school is, one of the things that I want to make sure that it is still in existence. And so what we have to do is kind of advocate. There's all this misinformation consistently is spread. There's anti-charter bills filed every session. So 19 in the session, for example. And then there's not a whole lot of support still. So you have to remember that while we are actually, RMA is a pretty big charter school in the state of Texas. So we're very, very thankful for that. We want to keep it that way, right? But that's one of the things that we are kind of, they're in support of, and making sure that charter stays alive, particularly in this climate. So there are a couple actually, this is how big charter schools are not very popular, but there's a couple of anti-charter coalitions. I would ask my board to really start looking to your local politics, understanding even local school board, what's happening, who's involved, what organizations and coalitions are out behind and backing our education system as well. Here locally, for example, AFT is a big one. And it's very supportive of our local politicians. So it's also something that you get involved and kind of just, if you don't get involved, at least understand what's happening locally, particularly in where areas in which our schools are at. So the Charter School Advocacy Toolbox, these are decisions about about public charter schools need to hear from charter community. Currently, there are efforts from, from a charter school boards or teachers or parents or superintendent, just basically all around making sure that we are advocating for our students and for our charters. So one of the reasons they pick board members, and part of my job at least is as a representative, is making sure that that we can speak on behalf, that I can speak on behalf of everyone of us as board members, and are we representing our students well as well in our schools. There's aspects of legislation that they kind of need to hear about all the great things that are happening in our schools. So I always ask that if you have a great story to share, do share it. I think it's something that we also need to keep that positivity and understanding of what's happening, that giving credits to our teachers and our students as well. I have a lot of praises to give here in the last, seeing the whole implementation of the four graduation dates that we have, and seeing some of our students that have graduated here in the last month. It's really commendable, and it's something that's really new that RMA is leading the way. But this is one of the reasons that, again, we are leaders and we have to be out there and speaking on behalf of our school, but making sure that we share perspectives that are largely unheard from underutilized, address lawmakers' misconceptions about charter school board, about charter board members, amplify advocacy for public charter schools in our local community and within our network of influence. And I go back, for me, here at least, the community is very much about a networking groups that they have. So in the beginning of in the end of August, in August, basically, I went around a lot of these networking groups. It didn't take a whole lot of time. It was a 2-minute presentation talking about what RMA is, how we help our students, and really giving a understanding of where we are located. And the story always helps on one of our students, but also that aspect of the 4 graduation dates is something that's really neat for our district, in particular here in Corpus Christi. And I would say all over the state that we have to commend RMA about. It doesn't take much to really just kind of talk about who we are and making sure that we are present in our community. And then TPC-ESA is committed to advocacy design, and they're designating a board advocacy chair to work collaboratively with TPC-ESA. Board advocacy chairs update, or our job is to basically update the board at each board meeting and engage in advocacy actions throughout the year. So just moving forward, if there's any other aspects of, bigger than just our district that impacts charter, I mean, this is something that we definitely want to keep the conversation alive and, also have our voices out there as well. And if you're wanting to advocate at any time, there are significant opportunities to do so. That's it. Thank you.
Go ahead, Ms. Pearson, I'm sorry. I would
That's
encourage
it. Thank you.
the board to
Thank you.
get involved in the advocacy work, just if there's an event in your area where the legislators are having something, whether it's a forum or whatever, just to get in front of them and be able to share what RMA does. A lot of the times, we're told not to call, when we go before legislators, not to call ourselves a charter school, but to call ourselves a dropout credit recovery school. And you'll be amazed that legislators, when they hear that, they go, "Oh, you're doing God's work." But when you say we're a charter school, they don't take us kindly. So if you do your advocacy work, but getting out and meeting the SBOEs and the state legislators and things like that, and just sharing with them, inviting them to our campuses to see what we do, is paramount to the work that we do for our students. So, thank you, Ms. Pearson.
Thank you, Ms. Pearson.
All right, well, just to give you an update of where we are as a district. As of October 24th, our student enrollment was at 1596. we eventually broke 1,600, about a week ago, Tammy Carl, we broke about 1,600 for the first time, and then we purged some of the students out, and it went back under 1,600, but we did hit 15 for a little while. So as you see there, we have a lot of parents that are pending the completion of applications, which is our largest number, 183. I have asked principals and registrars to reach out to those students. They have done in some cases. Some have come in, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, whatever. But in other cases, we can't get in touch with the student or the parent, but we are trying. I've asked them to send the SCLs out to the home if they need to try and locate and find those students that's out there. One of the things that Carl and I have been talking about and going back and forth on is that the fact that there are no longer any boundaries for charter schools. And so we're still navigating that. We're waiting for some further guidance on what that looks like for being an open enrollment charter school, I guess, if you will, with no boundaries. And so we'll be updating you all with that information at the next board meeting, what that looks like for RMA. Most of the surrounding cities where we serve kids, we have boundary. I mean, we are able to accept them. So it would be, my only concern is, if a student is 30, a 30-minute, 40-minute drive from the school, they enroll with us, what is that attendance gonna look like, because they may not be able to get to school consistently. So, we're kind of looking at all of those things, but right now we are trying to figure out where these boundary lines, extend to and how all of that works. Right now, TEA hasn't given any real information. Becky, Jennifer, you all tell me wrong, but they really didn't have any kind of qualifications as to if you have to have open boundaries, if you don't have to have open boundaries. So it's just up in the air. I will say that some people have concerns about, transportation issues for students and things of that nature. If you decide to take, kids, would you be on the hook for transportation or would you not be on the hook for transportation? So there's different factors that go into that. Becky, Jennifer, did you all have anything to share about the boundaries that you want?
No, I mean, so from, visiting with others, they just, the paperwork, right, that it alleviates, like for the registrars, for our teams, liaison, and so on. And then two, just the possibility that the elimination of the geographic boundaries could definitely mean more students in our schools. So I just feel like it's gonna be interesting to see once those reports can be produced, if, what kind of an impact are we having, and it'd be great to see that we'd be, with that possibility of getting more students in our campuses.
Yeah, so that's what we're monitoring is how, what the requirements are for the different types of, students that we would serve and, all of those things. So it's a lot of factors that play into it. I do know that open enrollment ISDs that decide to have no boundaries, they don't provide transportation. They don't have to provide transportation. That was a conversation I had with, I think, Joe Hoffer at the charter school conference, was that ISDs don't have that obligation to provide transportation. So we'll see. So nonetheless, the parents, 183, and as you see, if we got all of the students out of SOS, we would have potentially could have 1,870 kids. So we're working it. It hasn't come to fruition in that regard because a lot of those 183 kids we can't seem to either, we get a few of them that we reach out to and they come, but it's a large majority of them are hard to track down, if you will. As you can see, the ADA is down at 79.2 from 81.5%, and this was as of October 24th. So, and then retention is down by about 10% from where it was. It was at 90 and it's at about 80%, 79.6, 80%, as far as the retention rate goes. Again, we are, Dr. Gibbons and myself and The executive team, we have been emphasizing to the principals the importance of keeping the kids that they have, making sure that it's a welcoming environment, making sure that students, you know, are treated with the utmost respect, and that we're trying to provide the resources that they need to encourage them to stay in school. So that has been, you know, a push. And as of the 24th, our enrollment is at 1596, which is up. This time last year, we had 1579. And then in, I don't know how I did, last month, yeah, it's up from last month, but last year, we were at 1459 in October of 2023, and we're at 1596 this year. So that's about almost 100, a little over 100, but 40 kids more than we had last year. So. And then Tammy will give an update on the financial workings of the district, but however, please keep in mind that we built our budget on a 1680 enrollment with an average daily attendance of about 79%. We're at the 79%, which is not at the 1680 enrollment. So and so we would be paid on 1,327 students is what we built our budget on that we asked the board to approve. And so we're constantly, as you all are aware from our closed session discussion, we are constantly monitoring and looking at ways to ensure that the district maintains, tries to get to a surplus and operate at a surplus versus a deficit like we did last year. As you can see, the vacant positions district-wide, we are at 13 vacancies. As you can see, Killeen is fully staffed. Odessa has 1 opening. Lubbock is at fully staffed. Houston is 3. Fort Worth is 3. Corpus and Amarillo are fully staffed. Pasadena has 3 vacant positions. Midland, and then central office has 1. Midland has 2. And as you can see, 4 campuses are at 100% in the breakdown by percentage. And then as you see, our number of certified staff is dwindling. You know, in the past, we had 45% district-wide. It looks like that's certified. And so we used to be at like 60. It was around 64% last year. And so as you all are aware, certified teachers are getting paid more money in various cities. You know, Houston ISD is paying teachers very well. And some of the other towns in West Texas, I know Ector County is offering quite a bit of money, not as much as Houston. So it's very competitive out there. And as you all are aware, I've shared with you all my concerns about the pay scales and keeping us competitive with some of the local districts where we have students. Any questions about the enrollment numbers or?
Just, I'm sure you covered it, but the budget's built on 132788, however we get there.
Yes.
And what is the best current figure we have? Maybe
Tammy, the current ADA as far as.
Oh, as of the last FSP report, it was 1158. That's what the state has us at. So I think we just ended the second 6 weeks this week.
Yeah.
I think. So it'll be adjusted. The FSP will be adjusted in the next cycle. Since the 6 weeks report will have been ended. But for the first 6 weeks, we were 1158.
So we should be right around 1,200 then, because I think you told me we were up by about 40 kids or something.
I look at Sylvia's report, the Dean's report. The most recent one, she has us at 1210.
Yeah, so we're about 90 and 27, so
110 kids.
So that's what we're. So any other questions? And then I wanted to share with you all, you have the charts below. And as far as additional updates, I wanted to share with you that the big push from TPCSA and everything has been the new chapter 100 rules, which I've given you the link. You're welcome. It's a lot of reading, but I will give you the summary of the things that TPCSA, they call them potential wins. Well, the potential wins became the wins. So Jessica didn't have an updated slide, but the geographic boundaries, removal of geographic boundaries, as far as the charter school will no longer be required to identify or expand geographic boundaries, although it is allowable to identify primary and secondary enrollment boundaries to prioritize for lottery purposes. So the boundaries went away. Also, whenever we open up a new campus, whenever charter schools open up new campuses, the school no longer used to have to, this charter used to have to mail out, poor Becky, would have to mail out letters to every school district that was affected or impacted by our opening. So if we designated 8 boundary school districts, she had to send it out to the main one and then those 8, and they had to be certified and mailed out. But no longer is that, charter schools will no longer be required to send out the notifications. Instead, TEA sends them out now. And so they will send them out to the ISDs and members of the legislature for the campuses. The other big thing that came in chapter 100 rule change was the non-expansion amendments. It says non-expansion amendments are now clearly delineated into the material or non-material changes, which basically means you can file them at any time now. Is that correct, Becky? There used to be a window. Tell me if I'm explaining this wrong, but there used to be a window that you could file expansion amendments or non-expansion amendments, and that is no longer, you can file them at any time.
The expansion amendments, I believe, was from January. We're gonna open up a new campus, right? It's from like January to March or something like that. We have like a short window.
Yes, and then that window's gone.
Yes, sir.
But now the non-expansion amendments, though, as far as that they the process and the timeline, it says that the changes separate process and timeline. Do you have any updates or what did you all get out of it?
So on that, what we learned is they have created 2 types of non-expansion amendments, a material and a non-material. And would you like me to talk about that now, or would you wait till it's our turn? Oh, okay. So, and y'all will hear about this later in the meeting today in regards to the Houston relocation. We will be requesting the board to approve a material non-expansion amendment. And so they categorize them under different things. So for example, non-material non-expansion would be like a campus name change, campus start date change, a fiscal year change. Those would fall under non-expansion, non-material. A material non-expansion would be like a relocation of a campus, bylaws, articles of incorporation. Those would be classified under material extension.
So there's different timelines for those people separated.
They separate them, and then the commissioner with a non-material, he has up to 30 days. Within 30 days, he will reply with an answer in regards to our request. With a material, they have up to 60 days.
And there you can see also the expansion amendment change, which was a great one. Charter schools can now request expansion amendments, and they have 3 years basically to get that campus open, 36 months, which was huge. So you could technically apply for a campus charter, get it, and you used to only have 12 months. You used to have to open it up in 12 months. So if you got the charter, you had to have it open that following year. Now it's 36, and so that was a really good one. Or well, no, 18 months it looks like. Yeah, it says between January and March we've given up to 18 months to open. So now it's 36. So we'll see about a year and a half, basically.
Yes.
And then removal of 50% in tested grade, that basically that the requirement to have 50% of your enrolled students in the tested grade was the expectation in order for them to have to. Becky, I'm gonna let you talk about that one too. The 50% tested grade, do you? So in order to expand, I guess in order to expand, you had to have 50, like if you're gonna add a grade, you had to have 50% of the students in that tested grade.
Yeah, sorry, sir, I don't believe that was something that
That's
maybe was covered in the workshop.
I want to make sure I'm not missing that. And then the last thing, guys, that I want to share was the training requirements, and this affects the board directly. And I do want, Becky and Jennifer to talk about that, because there was a rule change for the training requirement sections. And they've been streamlined, and basically, it is, role-specific training now. So if you're the treasurer, I don't know how that would impact, do you all have any, extra information on how that, the training for role-specific requirements?
So Dr. Anderson, they, when we attended this workshop, the the chapter 100 rule rewrite, unfortunately, they didn't discuss that.
They did discuss that there were changes in the training requirements, however, they weren't specific in how that changed for each role.
They probably didn't know.
They did state that more information was gonna become available as all these changes kind of went into effect and kind of tested out. So we should be receiving more information, we just don't have that right now.
Well, we'll share it with the board once we get that, but it is going to be more the training, whereas it used to be you just had these buckets and you just had to get
Yes.
hours in. But now it'll be more if you're the president or
It's more specific
yeah,
to-
the treasurer,
to
or I'm
roles.
sure that it will be. So we'll all
Yes.
find out.
Yes, we will.
And that's. All right.
I mean, you only stay generally 1 year in a position, so in 3 years you get trained.
Yeah, well, all over the position.
Never mind.
And that's all that I had, as far as additional updates was, that the chapter 100, rule change, had been released. And so I put the link in there. You're welcome to go through and read it. It's a lot of, information. And one thing I will say about, they call it HPE. You may hear this term HPE, high performing entities. The commissioner, is really pushing to bring in out of state high performing entities, into Texas. It has been said that the push is to really get rid of the smaller charter networks and replace them with the larger national entities that have basically figured out the prescription for high achieving student, getting high achieving students. And so you'll see more and more of that. You're gonna start to see more and more charter schools be invited in because they can streamline the process. The commissioner can streamline the process to help get the charters in and things of that nature if they're high performing entities. There's a way to, a quick way to get in and start operating. So just, if you hear HPEs, that's what it means, high performing entities, but that is the push, is to bring in big national charter operators into Texas that have proven results. And that includes dropout recovery schools too. Systems. That's it. Unless you have questions.
That a report to Tammy,
Thank you.
financials.
I have summarized some of the financial information, on the introductory page. For the month of September for our financials, we have accrued 35 days of revenue out of 180 days that we have for the current school year. And looking at the chart on the next page, the enrollment data by month for the past 3 years is reflected here. And as of this report, the highest day of enrollment that we had in the month of September was 1,560 students. And on the following page is our ADA for the month of September. We are at 78% attendance, which is a slight drop from last month, and slightly left from this time last year. However, we did budget at 79%. So it's very close to that target budgeted number that.
Now, what date is yours? Because the number that I had, Jim said 79%.
Because you get yours from Jim like last week, right? Or week, yeah, this is September. Yeah, we're always a month behind. Yeah, we're always a month behind. Yeah, so my information is always lagging yours.
Okay.
And on page 87, this chart represents the foundation school payment revenue that is received versus the amount that we budgeted. So based on the budget that we approved, it was 15.4 million, and currently with the enrollment numbers that we have, we are recording revenue at 13.43 million. As we discussed just a minute ago, that's based off of our first 6 weeks data. Our second 6 weeks data will be right behind that, and it will be adjusted accordingly to the attendance reports that we submit. On the following page, this is our days cash on hand, and this calculation is done by breaking down our annual expenses into a daily amount, and then you divide that daily amount by your cash balance that's available at the end of the month. So as you can see from this chart, we have 97 days cash on hand for the month of September. So we will be able to operate, if everything ceased today, we'll be able to operate on just the funds we have in the bank for another 97 days. And on the following page, we can see through the month of September that we have $4.3 million in expenses and $3.3 million in revenue. And on the following page, 90, we're looking at the administrative cost ratio. The new calculation for this is we are comparing our administrative costs, which are in function 21 and function 41. They're being compared to the overall district costs this year. And currently where we were at as of the month of September, we would score 6 out of 10 points with that equation. And here we have the estimated charter burst rating. If the fiscal year ended today, these are the scores that we would have. We would score a meet standard with 76 points. We did lose some points on that administrative cost ratio, which we just looked at. And then our budgeted revenues to actual revenues has been an issue for the past couple years. And that's off by more than 10%, and also our debt service ratio right now. But again, this is not based on a projection. This is based on, basically just a month and a half of school. So we've got lots of time to turn this around. And on the following page, our income statement shows that most of our spending is either at or under budget for this time of the year. We do see function 23 as being slightly higher than we would expect, but that is primarily due to the fact that we have had a couple of new principals come in this year, and their salaries and all of their benefits are reported in function 23. And at the time that the budget was approved, we were unaware of those new positions and where those positions would fall on the pay scale based on their experience. So that was just an unknown at the time that we went into the budget season. Function 61 is more spending than we would see this time of the year because the consulting services that are being provided for the RMA Foundation weren't included there. So it looks like those expenses are slightly elevated for right now. Function 33 is lower because at this point, we have not started our hearing and vision tests, which would fall into that function code for our students. And then function 52, which is security, is also lower because we really don't start spending for security guards until mid-August when the students come back. So again, we've not really utilized a lot of security basically since school doesn't start until midway through August, and the guards are there when the students are there. So we'll catch up on that one. And function 51 is also a little lower than we would expect for contracted maintenance and repairs. We'll just say we hope we can keep that there for that one, because function 51 is always a little bit higher than we would like to be. So we're good right there. And then we are in a deficit right now, as we do normally see for the first several months of the year. If we do look back to the same time period of September of 2023, Our deficit was 600,000, which is slightly less than where we see right now, but our revenues are consistent. So we can basically, you know, determine that a lot of things in the cost sector have gone up. You know, that hits us all on a personal level, and it hits the school on that level as well. So we are seeing increased costs. Everything has gone up, and that's just something that, you know, is part of the economic issues that we're facing right now. And page 93 is our balance sheet, which reflects assets and liabilities. Our net assets is reflected at the bottom of the page at 13.9 million. And that 13.9 million represents 359 days of operating expenses based on our current data. And page 94 is the summary of finance, which is dated September the 20th. This is September 20th was prior to the first 6 weeks attendance report. So when we look at the October summary of finance, we'll see that slight jump there in the refined ADA number, which was affected after that first 6 weeks of data. And that is all I have.
Let's see. Amy,
Yes.
our January 30th meeting, could we delay a report to show 34-year history on ADA for campus? I know we got a report here that's percent, but it's for the district.
Yes. Right. So you want to see it by campus?
Yeah, but if we get ADA rather than percent, we can come back into it. If we can get ADA for some period of time, some historical data, but sure, what we do is it gives some more data to look at and make decisions.
Yes, I can prepare that for the next board meeting. Absolutely.
January, I think. So,
Yes, absolutely.
sure. One time, one off.
Okay. Absolutely.
Carl?
See, we're gonna just quickly go through our facilities update on some of the projects that we have going. We'll start with the Amarillo relocation. As you guys know, and from our earlier discussion, we're in the process of working with Frost Bank and making some decisions on how to proceed with Amarillo. One of the things that we're gonna see later in the meeting today is a lease extension for Amarillo. As this project is delayed, we're gonna need to extend the lease another 6 months to be able to accommodate that time period. Go ahead. And we can just pause on these. Once again, floor plans are all done, demolition's done on this project. So we're ready to move ahead should we decide to do so. One more. And in Fort Worth, same thing. This project has been, I wouldn't say delayed, but it's been put on hold until we can decide which one we're going to move forward with, or if we're going to proceed with both projects. So go ahead and scroll through these. This is, go back to that picture. Just wanted to show you the picture of the building in the top part of the would be the central office building, and then the school complex would be on the lower right hand side of the page there. So just to give you an idea of what Mr. Clements was talking about earlier when he was talking about the road that divided the two properties. So that's the school is on the bottom right, and the central office will be on the top left. Brilliant. Once again, this is the sort of the school layout. We have some different options to move forward with on that. The central office side, not quite as developed, but, we're in the process of getting that worked out. Houston relocation. So this project is actually on track. We're in the process of construction. We're probably about a third of the way through on construction with this project. Dr. Anderson and myself will be in Houston on Monday to actually do a walk of the complex to see how construction is going. We're meeting regularly with the contractor and the brokers just to make sure everything is proceeding. And currently we're on track with this project. So we would be moving out over the course of the holiday in December, and we would start classes here on the 7th of January. Next picture. This is the exterior of our existing building on the left, and we just have some signage up that says that we're relocating, and at the new location, we have some signage up that shows where, you know, the future home of RMA. Go ahead. These were some construction photos from last week. All the walls are up. The bit of concrete cuts there on the right are the restrooms. Those have been filled, and we should be able to see those, the restroom area taking shape when we're there this next week. Lubbock roof repair. We have our insurance company has finalized all of their paperwork, and so we're actually going to be moving forward with a roof replacement in Lubbock. We've finalized that with the contractor that we've chosen through the TIPS co-op to do that project. That would give us a 10-year. Actually, we're going with a larger 20-year replacement on that roof. We'd originally planned for a 10-year replacement, but we're going with the 20-year replacement because our insurance claim turned out better than we had hoped. So we're moving forward with that. Next picture. And you can see this is the roof that we're replacing. It's quite a bit of ponding up there and quite a few leaks. So we're looking forward to getting that replaced. And that's it for kind of a quick update on our projects.
Questions, comments? So the forward projects were in between the closed and open sessions discussions. You sort of hope you're expanding some information on the forward to give us some numbers.
We're gonna get numbers for breaking it out into pieces in Fort Worth and comparing those to the Amarillo so that you guys can make a decision.
Plan. All right, then, as you all aware, we like to keep the board abreast of where we are in the 2023-2026 strategic plan, and just so that you all kind of know where we are on each of the pieces. So I'm going to ask Dr. Gibbons, are you on?
Yes, sir, I'm on.
All right, would you run us through where we are on the post-secondary success initiatives?
Sure, hold one sec. Get to that page. Okay. Academics is on track on everything. Hold on one sec. What page is that, if you don't mind telling me? So I can.
That is gonna be page 120.
Thank you. Okay. With our new partnership, we added a new partnership with Tarrant Community College. So far, our sites with post-secondary partnerships is now at 77%. That is what is it? 7 out of 9 of our campuses have that. We're continuing to work on the other 2. Student participation in partnerships is at 30%, which is on track. Increase in student graduating with CCMR is at 12%. Actually, 92% of our term 1 grads had a CCMR credit. So we're definitely on track to increase our CCMR graduation rate. Students taking a college prep course through Texas College Bridge is definitely on track. Right now, we're at 55%. It will be higher, but at this point, you know, we've only completed 1 quarter. And then students completing a CTE program, again, we're on track. We're at 35%. Again, keep in mind that we've only completed 1 grading period.
Dr. Givens,
Yes.
I was asking if there are any questions.
Questions, comments?
Then Christina, would you share the school leadership, teacher retention?
Sure.
These just the highlights, if you would.
So our average scores on our climate and culture survey is about 56%. We contract those surveys through AHART, and we do them in the spring. He reports similar clients to be about 76%. Average staff level across all campuses, our staff have an average tenure of about 3 years, but they've come to us or leave us with 8 years of professional experience. The campus with net promoter scores of 50 or 50. Again, this is from our last climate and culture survey. We had 1 location that met that threshold, and then decreased mid-year attrition. We're sitting at about 20% right now. We've seen a much higher amount of turnover starting in August of this year than we typically see. I'm hopeful that that will kind of level out and rewrite itself, but it's just a little more than what we're used to. And that's all I have.
When the people are leaving, where would you say they're going? Are they leaving education, going to schools, or just what do they?
Typically, the ones who have left us with notice have been leaving us to seek different opportunities with more pay.
Tammy, give me your financial, or you just hit the highlights?
So days cash on hand, for the end of September, we had 97 days cash on hand. Just as a reminder,
Which is up. But we had that last time.
it's up from last month, correct? And just as a reminder, 60 days is the target for TEA, so we're good there. On our budget, our revenues are under by about 8% right now, but our expenses are also under overall by about 3%. We are at a meet standard for Charter First, and again, that's as of September, so that's not a projected rating. It's where we stand currently, which is very difficult to assess, you know, in the month of September for the entire year. And then our charter school performance framework was 100 at the last announced at the last grading that was announced. Oh, and that's it for me. Sorry, same color. I was going to keep going. That's you.
That's yours, Mike.
You are right here.
So on mine, the annual safety and security audits are on track. We have scheduled audits for this year. We have 5 of them scheduled. And as a matter of fact, we had one of those take place in Fort Worth today. So we're on schedule for that. Compliance with drill logs, we're on track with that. We're only 30% complete for the year, so we're on track with our drill logs. And then with our intruder detection audits, we're going to say on track. We're at 11% because we've only had 1 out of 9 of those audits. Those are the ones that are done by the local education service centers, and we passed that with 100%. So That's where we're at.
Chief Carl. And last but not least, as far as the foundation, we were expecting an update.
Miss Renard's is connected, so she's ready to give an update.
Well, once we finish everything. So she'll be giving an update on that, but as of today, no money has been raised. But we are still in the process of getting the foundation established. And then, any questions about the strategic plan?
So we are ready for someone dares to report or not?
No, we
Yes.
finished the agenda item. Can we move through these?
Well, we're going to action items and then come back.
Action items would be next.
Yes.
Action items.
Action items, okay.
Action items, board approval ratification of district contracts. Dr. Anderson.
As you can see, the contracts that I approved for this past time, and I'm asking the board to ratify. I did sign for the tips, which was for the roof in Lubbock, to have that repaired. Is that right, Paul? The tips was for Lubbock with roof, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And so $2,500 that I'm asking the board to ratify. And then for the sign depot, we had the $1,500, which was to put up for the what was it, Houston? The sign depot?
Oh, yes, that was for Houston.
Yes, yeah. So for Houston, so I'm asking the board to ratify those contracts that I have signed, and we have no approvals.
No.
Consideration of possible amendment to policy group 2.206 regarding completing a grade of course. It's one week.
We'll have to approve these, the ratifications. You have, I move to approve the contracts.
Those two are going to be two that you had.
We've got to make a motion.
Okay. We have a motion to approve the contracts. Dr. Anderson signed.
I move the board approve the contracts listed in Exhibit 1 and ratify the contracts listed under Exhibit 2.
Donald Demick, I will second the motion.
We have a motion, second, we approve the contracts as presented by Dr. Anderson. Mr. Nick,
Vote yes.
Ms. Pearson,
Yes.
Ms. Thompson,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
your vote yes, motion carries. Now we're ready to go to the expansion. Repeating and grade, I think is what we talked about.
Oh, yes.
Talked about last month,
Yes.
the previous,
Let me,
given, yes.
before Dr. Gibbons begins, let me make sure that we understand, we met, Becky and Dr. Gibbons and I, we looked through this policy on this grade thing several times. Dr. Gibbons brought out a good point. You'll notice in her recommendation, and I support, a student should be only able to retake the course once. And the reason I support that is because we don't get paid. Each time if a student takes a class over and over again, we don't get any funding for that. That after, if they've passed it, then we don't get any additional funding. They would just be taking the course. And so we felt that it was in the best interest of the district that a student have one opportunity to take the course. And my recommendation is that we give them the higher grade. So if they take the course, if they decide they want to retake the course one time, they would get the higher grade. And that's my recommendation. But I want Dr. Gibbons to give you all three options, and then the board will need to select the option that they support and would like for us to implement.
And Dr. Anderson, do you mind if I introduce our newest principal before I get started?
If you would do the policy first, and then we will vote.
Okay, absolutely. Okay, so we're revisiting the regarding repeating a grade for a course in which a student has already earned credit. Okay, I want to emphasize the student already has passed this class. So the original stated policy is a student who receives a passing grade or who earns credit for a high school course shall retain Richard Milburn's original assignment of a grade or award of credit when a student is retained under this policy unless Richard Milburn adopts a policy. So basically what that means is if a student retakes a course, they keep the original grade. And that's the standard for the state, unless we in this meeting decide to change that policy. So option 1 is to keep in place the original policy, meaning you get the grade that you get even if you take it over. Okay. Option 2, ready? To receive an average of the two, I'm sorry. Option 1 is, let me go to the bottom. Am I looking at this correctly? Okay. I'm looking under suggested motions. Option 1, I move that the policy 2.106 be approved as currently written. So that's the original policy. Option 2, Richard Milburn Academy will permit a student who has received a passing grade or earned credit for high school course the opportunity to repeat the course once. Upon repeating the course, the student will receive the higher of the 2 grades. That's option 2, to receive the higher of the 2 grades. Okay. Option 3 is upon repeating the course, the student will receive an average of the 2 grades. So option 1 is the policy stays in place. Option 2 is the higher of the 2 grades. Option 3 is the average of the 2 grades.
Before the chair calls for a vote, I'd like to have some discussion and keeping in touch with national laws and what they do. I am in favor of number 2 for the reason is, let's just say you take the LSAT. If you take the LSAT the second time, they will give you the highest of the 2 grades. And I think if we're going to flip-flop and we are at liberty to do exactly what we like to do as a district, that's why I am looking at option number 2. Thank you.
Donald Nimick, I concur with that. I also would choose option 2. I believe that it's in the best interest of the kid to be able to do that. I mean, if they want to take the class over, get a better grade, I'm all for it. And I think they should be rewarded for that.
So you're saying the average, Mr. Nimick, or give them the higher grade?
Higher grade, option 2.
Higher grade is option 2. And that's in concert with LSAT, DRE, and things like that. So I think we should stay in concert with what the nation is already doing if we're going to try to reinvent the wheel.
Oh, I would look at these options.
I concur with Ms. Thompson and Mr. Nimick. Option 2 is the best option.
I'm good with option 2, but do question unless there's been a change in TEAs, how deeply they dig down there in Henderson County as to whether we get penalized if a student takes the course 5 or 6 times, as long as he comes to school and his foot's on the seat. I think we get paid, so.
If they pass it, you don't have to repeat.
Well, unless we have all our seats filled and we don't have a seat to put that butt in, then we're getting penalized as long as he's taking, as long as he's there.
Yeah, yes.
The only time we'd be getting penalized is we had full attendance and we had to kick somebody out and clear up a seat to put that butt in so you take it over. So practically, we're not losing anything. I believe.
So I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm disappointed that we would consider giving any of our students anything else than being able to have a better opportunity in life. The aspect of it just being even average or lower grade, as it was suggested previously, means that they could be disqualified from college application, they could be disqualified from a scholarship. There's many aspects to it as well. Obviously, I'm in favor of making sure that, what's best for our students and making sure that it is the higher grade of the two that they take.
So you're in favor of option 2?
That's this option currently, yes,
Yeah. That's the one that gives them the higher grade if they take the course. Oh,
correct.
So do we have a motion that we,
Would I move that you all adopt option 2?
From the board, I make a motion that we accept option 2.
I think we need a motion.
Ms. Thompson just made it.
Did she?
Yes.
Okay, we have a second. A second. Motion second. Mr. Nemick,
I vote yes.
Ms. Pearson,
Yes.
Ms. Thompson,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
chair votes yes, motion carried. Approval of request to submit a material non-expansion amendment request form PA for the relocation of Houston campus. Come on. Okay. So get you, I'll get you, I'll take you up the other side.
You want the rest of the way?
Oh, no, get you.
So the material non-expansion amendment that we're asking the board to sign is our request from TEA to move our Houston campus from our location on Airtex to our new location, which would be done over the holiday. So the recommendation is that the board approve to submit a material non-expansion amendment request form to TEA for the relocation of the Houston campus.
Have a motion? Move that we approve the request, material non-expansion amendment request is presented by Carl for the Houston campus. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion, second, vote, Mr. Nemick. Nemick, are you there? I'm muted, perhaps.
I vote yes.
Ms. Pearson,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
vote yes, motion carried unanimously. Board resolution regarding the relocation of Houston campus. Carl.
Okay, in conjunction with the previous agenda items, the Texas Education and Agency also requires the adoption of a written resolution by the governing body of the charter holder demonstrating that a quorum of the members voted in favor of amending the charter. The board resolution must accompany the material non-expansion amendment request form at the time of submission to the agency. So the TEA is requesting that you guys approve this resolution to go along with the expansion.
We have a motion to that effect.
I'll make approve the resolution in support of the relocation campus and further authority to the superintendent or his deputy to submit a document as required by DEA.
We have a second?
Rose Thompson, second.
Have a motion, second. Vote, Mr. Nimitz,
I vote yes.
Ms. Pearson,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
I vote yes, motion carries. Carl, Curiosity Health Board in city blocks is this new location from the existing location.
One block.
One block. This will maybe trouble finding where.
Yeah, it's literally right around the corner.
0.5 miles.
0.5.
We can put it.
Consideration of possible action to extend the lease at 4106 Southwest 51st Street, June 30th, 2025. Sorry, Carl.
Yes, this is for our lease at the Amarillo location. We had extended it through December. Previously, hoping to have moved forward with construction and completion of that construction. However, due to our negotiations with Frost Bank on the financing, we're going to need to extend that lease for another 6 months until we either make a decision or well, we'll have to finish out the school year there regardless. So we will need this lease extension to get us through the end of the year.
We have a motion to that effect. This is the lease extension for Amarillo campus.
I move to extend the lease at 4106 Southwest 51st Street, Amarillo, Texas to June 30th, 2025. Under the terms and conditions outlined in the proposed third amendment that provides such extension.
We have a motion. Ms. Pearson, do we have a second?
Donald Dimick, Rose and Donald will do it.
Okay. Have a motion, second. Vote, Mr. Nimitz.
Yes.
Ms. Pearson,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
I vote yes, motion carries.
Thank you.
We have on theirs.
And before we do that, if, before Ms. Armendariz, Dr. Gibbons, would you introduce Dr. Phillips? I forgot to do that during my report. If you would introduce Dr. Phillips, the new principal of the Fort Worth campus.
Yes. I'm very happy to introduce Dr. Phillips. Dr. Phillips comes to us with a great deal of experience, over 20 years experience, and a great story to her background. She started off as a teacher's assistant and worked her way up to become a teacher and then to become an administrator. She was also an ESL teacher, and she was a adjunct professor at Lone Star College as an ESL teacher. Or ESL professor. And so I am very proud and very happy to introduce our newest principal at our Fort Worth location, Dr. Phillips. Dr. Phillips, if you could say hello and introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. I thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve at this Fort Worth campus. There is a great deal of work to do, but I am built for this. And I have amazing support with Dr. Gibbons and Dr. Bonds and just the whole team. And I am just excited and very grateful to be a part of this organization. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome. I look forward to working with you. I'm here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, so I will make sure that we meet at some point sooner rather than later.
Thank you.
Volunteers, are you available?
Hi, everyone. Yes, sir, I am here. How are you guys doing? I hope you are all doing very well. Am I able to share my screen? I don't know if we can bring up what I had submitted.
Yes, did you want to start with your PowerPoint?
Yeah, we can go ahead and do that.
And Ms. Armendariz, I will have to visit with you later. I'm gonna have to leave, but I will get with you and get the updates firsthand.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. No worries. We can do that. And it's all good news. So I'm really excited. So first things first, we did definitely we worked together to create a new logo already. So I put that in, updated the presentation that they're pulling up. We also have a mission, we have a vision. So, and we have several applicants that are really, really ready to get this ball moving. So happy Friday, you guys. We're ending the year, I think, in a great position for the foundation. And still 2 months to go, of course, but you know, everybody's already in the holiday mode. And I just wanted to say that I had a lovely time getting to meet some of the team and interact with them at the conference. So that was in San Antonio. That seemed amazing. It looked like you got a lot of resources, and I was able to get some leads on some potential donors, partners there, all over Texas. So that is also already in the works, building those relationships with potential donors. Okay. Is it up yet, Jennifer?
Yes, can you see my screen?
No, we're not seeing it.
You're not seeing it? Okay, give me 1 second. Can you see it now?
No.
Okay, can we see it now? Yes.
Yes, it's up. So this is just a little introduction that I've been using to share information with the prospective board members. As you know, people need a baseline understanding of what a charter school is, how it operates, and things of that nature. And I was very fortunate that a lot of the team came together and your board members came together to share information on how they advocate for the school. So this is just kind of based off of what y'all already kind of have for the school itself. And then I just go through the main talking points and make sure that the prospects we're talking to are on that track of they understand that this is going to be a fundraising board. That is the whole purpose of it. But why are we fundraising, right? So I want to make sure that they do have a good fit for that role. You can go to the next slides, Jennifer, and just, you know, sharing a little bit about where all of the schools are located, of course, and making sure that those board members understand that they can play a significant role, not just for the school in their city and maybe do some extra things for that campus, but also they're going to be helping the whole district. So on the next slide is the mission and vision. And so I really wanted to play off of what is already set for the school district itself, and making sure that they're in line together. So you can see the vision is going to be to expand programs through the choices model. I know the choices is really important for the district. So I want to make sure that all of the board members do understand that, you know, we're here to mirror what the school district itself is doing. And so that's where I really wanted to grow for the mission and vision. And then, of course, once we get all the board members secured, we can review and revise anything if necessary. Any questions or comments so far? And then the next slide just talks about the choices. And we just came up with the logo, so the presentation and everything doesn't mirror completely, but it's pretty close. So we just came up with the logo. We had some other options, but I really thought that that logo was good, so we can start making everything very formal. So there's the choices, and then on the next slide, I kind of talked to prospects about how this school program is different, and how it operates, just so that they're more of an advocate too when they're creating partnerships. That's what a board member, as you all know, does, right? And then the next slide talks more about the school program as well, so they can just understand everything that y'all do. And here I start reminding people that, when you have technology for one student, that means dollar bills, right? If you're paying for one device per student, it just starts adding up, adding up, adding up. So the foundation come in and can support some of these different programs, as well as the focus on graduation. I let them know about all the schools being at risk, and, a lot of the students not being able to afford basic necessities, not to mention, the graduations and how y'all do graduations 4 times a year. So it's very different. So the need to support students through the graduation is also important, paying for cap and gowns, things of that nature. And then the next slide. Then we start digging into what the foundation could do, support grants, scholarships, and programs for students' basic needs. Of course, everything can be developed even more, but I just give them a little bit of an example of what the top priorities are and where some of the top needs are. And then making sure that we do, and of course, the financial goal is flexible, but making sure that we do have some financial goals set. And of course, with that goal in mind of getting students to their graduation day and doing everything in the power to support the teachers and the students. And that's really it. So on the next page, if you can pull up, Jennifer, the Word document, we've already had several applicants. Our recommendations, I've conducted several introduction meetings with this presentation that was created. And we're still looking for maybe somebody from the Killeen area. I do have a plan to maybe get to Killeen next month, but we do have some really good starts here, and I'll give you a full profiles on them once we get all of the official applications turned in. Fred Brown, the representative, has also been working with us to work across the state and send some recommendations, and then I've been working recruiting and trying to find good matches for the foundation. I think it would be really great to have a 12-member board. And so we're getting very close. And so these are all introductions. Everybody's very much excited and on board. And so the next steps will be to get those official applications in, as well as to create all of their commitment information. And then let me see. I think as far as a roadmap goes, let's see. I think by December, we could identify a registered agent so that by January, we could actually do the state filing and continue the search for those additional members. And by February, I do believe that we're on the right track, that by the end of the month, we could submit our federal filing if we just keep moving this truck along. So really excited.
Questions, comments?
Can you repeat that?
Thank you for the update.
Yes, ma'am.
Adriana. And, oh, sorry, Adriana, before you go, is there anything that we can support you? I mean, what do you need from us?
Sure. So for one thing, let me see. this is not directly related to the foundation, but we did find a grant opportunity that we sent out. And let me see, I wanted to make sure this grant works a little bit different and it's for the school itself. Let me see. So sorry. And I wanted to make everybody has to vote. You have to do you have to vote online so that the Odessa school, the Lubbock school, and the Midland school are all eligible. And you just have to vote online, and everybody can vote every day. I'm sending this to you right now. I know Carrie has it, so she'll be sending it to you all. But I thought it was really, really neat. And it's a great way just to get exposure for the school, and we really are trying to support the graduation initiative to help with caps and gowns. I think that could really spark interest in the community. So we definitely need the support if everybody can vote, get the word out. Carrie will be sending out some things on social media as well, working with the schools. So if you're the principals in those schools, making sure we just do everything we can to get the word out and vote online. Of course, our students can't vote. Unfortunately, you have to be 18 to vote. So if your students are 18, they can definitely vote. That's the only little caveat there about that. So we're already getting a jump on getting some exposure, some community awareness, and potentially we could, the schools could win. They're not lumped together. So if you're going to vote for the school, you're going to do one vote for Odessa, one vote for Midland, and one vote for Lubbock. But we don't have any representation, Mirza, from Pasadena. I am working on Colleen, but if there's anybody that any of you recommend that I meet with, I know I do have a few follow-ups with some of the team members that I met there in San Antonio. They said, they wanted to connect me here and there and the other. By all means, send any kind of introduction email that you want to send my way. I'm available by phone or text, whatever is the best communication method. But anybody you want me to meet that you feel would be a benefit to the foundation, I'm open to meeting them. They don't have to be on the board, but maybe I can have a conversation with them, and maybe they know somebody who would be a good fit. So anything that you like that you can do would be very helpful.
And then, Adriana, sorry, I saw the email. Just to guys let you know, it's a $60,000 award basically for nonprofits, and it is through City with a Y bank for the area. So for those that are in the West Texas region, it's going to be very helpful. And just for our staff to make sure just to at least go once, we have enough staff to be supportive of that. I'm a heavy believer in making sure that our students get the best that their needs met. And one of my goals is to make sure that they get their caps and gowns, but also our teachers that they get the ability to have the support as well, financial support, scholarships and things of that nature as well available. So that's one of the things. One of the things, Adriana, that I was going to ask you basically, I want to make sure that the focus is not on the board, that it's not necessarily where the schools are, but that there are board members that are really committed to this. They could be anywhere in the state. We just want to make sure that they're committed.
Oh, definitely. And I just know it always kind of feels a little helpful if somebody has strong ties in that specific community. And then in addition to their role, they can make that one-on-one partnership and kind of like be there, see it, feel it, do it. But anybody that has a passion, especially for students that are in a dropout recovery, if dropout recovery hits home, if student advocacy hits home for anybody, they don't have to live in one of these cities. They could even be out of the state. It'd be maybe better if they're in state, but as Mirza said, yes, that's not a requirement that they have to live in one of the cities, but we do want to make sure we get some good representation across, but it's going to all be for the same thing, to support all the schools and all the teachers and all the students and all of the initiatives for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? I think that's the last thing on our agenda today. We'll see you. Everybody have a Thanksgiving, and Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. Holiday season will all be over. We'll meet again soon.
Goes by fast,
Hope
huh?
to see y'all next year.
Meeting has been adjourned.
Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
President.
Goodbye, everyone. Have a happy Thanksgiving.